I'm going to go back to Exhibit 83. This has already been admitted. This is the phone log found on the shooter's phone. So the time we're speaking of, those text messages where he sent his mother indication that he was seeing bowls fly off the shelf from the demon, that was between 6:03 p.m. and 6:29 p.m. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So we already saw that there was not a text back from Jennifer Crumbley, but tell us about the phone logs. What do these show?
It shows a phone call from Jennifer Crumbley at 7:24 p.m.
Okay. So that's about an hour and a half after he texted about the house being haunted.
That's correct.
And that was a 19-second call?
Correct.
Okay. Now I'm going to move on to March the 19th, 2021. This is a Facebook conversation between James and Jennifer regarding their son that day. This is People's 95. I don't believe you have an objection to this.
No, there was no objection. 95 was admitted.
Thank you. Okay. Again, Jennifer in blue, James in green.
Correct.
Okay. She said, "Is he awake?" And what did James respond?
James responds with, yeah.
Jennifer wrote, "How is he?"
James then responds with, he woke up looking like he had way, in all caps, W-A-Y, too much to drink last night, complaining about a headache.
Okay. And then her response as well, "He was really worked up and out of control, so I can see why." That's March 19th, 21 at 9:41 a.m.
Correct.
About 48 seconds later, she wrote, "All I know is he needs to eat, go to work, and work hard and not complain, and he can get his stuff back."
Correct.
And then March 19th later on, you responded and didn't get it. That's Jennifer Crumbley's words?
That's correct, yes.
Yes. Just you did have marked 95 down for admission, correct?
Yes, that's
Thank you. Okay. Now, the next day, March the 20th, did you find text messages from the school shooter to his mother, the defendant, of a concerning nature from that day?
Yes.
This is Exhibit 96. I believe this was subject to a previous ruling.
no objection, aside from what was already noted. No. 96 is admitted.
Thank you. But we're still on 95 on the slide. James wrote, "Jesus, yes." He said, referring to their son, "Let me ask you a question. Why am I in your guy's room? LOL." And Jennifer's response is what?
OMG. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Which exhibit is this?
I have to back up just a little bit, Josh. Sorry, thank you. So just to make sure everybody's on the same page, this is Exhibit 95. This is from March 19th, 2021. We've already gone through these. At 9:41 a.m. when Jennifer wrote he was really worked up and out of control. In the same text message conversation, there's no breaks in this exhibit. And the conversation continued. James wrote what?
I totally thought you were giving him a Xanax last night. ...
And Jennifer's response was?
Does he seem better?
And then?
No melatonin.
And James wrote what?
I know.
And Jennifer wrote?
But he hasn't had one before, so I should have only given him half.
And then James' response is, he is doing his school, says his head hurts. He took Tylenol.
Correct.
Okay. And Jennifer's response was, is he okay to work? That's at March 19th at 11 a.m.
Correct.
And James' response
was yeah.
And that's also, it's 11:13 a.m.
Correct.
Okay. And then Jennifer wrote 11:38 a.m. on March 19th. Does he remember what he did?
Correct.
Okay. What was James's response?
James responds with, dude, I am working on a demo right now. I have not talked to him and he is doing school.
Okay. And then her response is?
Okay then, geesh.
Okay, thank you. Now, this is 96 that we just admitted. This is from March the 20th of 2021. And again, did you find text messages from the school shooter to the defendant of a concerning nature?
Correct.
Okay, in the blue, that's all the school shooter's words?
Correct.
Okay, what did he write to her?
He starts with, I finished picking up the room. That was at 2:38 on the 20th.
2:33?
2:33, I'm sorry,
Okay.
yes. He then says, I cleaned until the clothes started flying off the shelf.
And then what?
This stuff only happens when I'm home alone.
Okay, that's March 20th, 2021 at 2:34 p.m.
Correct.
And this is the same date and time?
Yes, it is.
And what did you write?
I picked the clothes back up though.
Okay, that's March 20th at 2:34.
Correct.
And when was the next response to that?
By Jennifer was on the 22nd of March at 8:17 p.m.
Okay, so I'm going back to Exhibit 83, which is the phone log found, recovered off of the school shooter's phone, specific to these days. Okay, so we just went through March the 20th, and those messages were sent about 2:30 in the afternoon, if you recall, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and were there any phone calls in that time period?
No, there was not.
Okay. In fact, the next call was 6:37 p.m. on March the 20th.
Correct.
No objection. Oh, sorry, you can say the numbers and that's no objection.
97 and 98, Judge, I believe will be admitted.
We have no objection.
97 and 98 are admitted.
Thank you. So, sir, were we able to tell where James and Jennifer Crumbley were yet again on that day?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is 97 and 98. 97 is the photograph, 98 the metadata. This is March 20th, 2021 at 1:51 p.m.
Correct.
Okay, and if you recall, the text messages from the school shooter were sent to his mother about 2:30 in the afternoon?
Correct.
Okay, so tell us where Jennifer and James Crumbley were at this date and time.
They're riding the horses again.
99 and 100
No objection.
Yeah, is it 99?
and 100.
No objection to either one.
No objection to either one.
99 and 100 are admitted.
Thank you, John. Okay, now this was taken off of the last picture. Was taken off of James Crumbley's phone, 97, 98.
That's correct.
99 and 100 were taken off of Jennifer Crumbley's phone.
Correct.
Okay, so the capture time here, March 20th, 2021, 11:58 a.m.
That's correct.
Okay, so then that would indicate to you that they were at the barn at least from that period of time until at least 1:51 p.m.
Correct.
Okay. Sir, during the course of your investigation, did you come to learn that the school shooter had only one friend?
Yes.
And did you also learn that that individual was abruptly taken from the state of Michigan about a month before the shooting occurred?
Yes, he was.
And did you review the text message thread between the school shooter and that other individual?
Yes.
Okay. You've looked at the entirety of the phone of the school shooter as well as James and Jennifer Crumbley's phone, is that right?
That's correct.
If you could give us an idea, the volume of the data found in the text message thread between the school shooter and his friend.
There was over 20,000 text messages just between the two people. I've done exams on phones where the combined number of text messages isn't that much.
So what's the relative size and data between that particular text message thread and any other thread between the school shooter and anybody else?
I think the most text between any other person might have been near 500, just an individual person.
I'm going to show you a portion that's been previously admitted by this court of that text message thread from April the 4th of 2021, April the 5th of 2021. That's Exhibit 101.
And the court's previously ruled on this.
All right. 101's admitted.
Thank you, Judge. So we have names redacted. 101 was found on the shooter's phone, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so in this instance then, the green would be his words, the shooter's words.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Tell us what he wrote to his friend on April the 4th of 21.
The shooter wrote, like I hear people talking to me and see someone in the distance. And I corrected the spelling of the word distance.
It's April 4th at 11:56 p.m.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else?
The shooter said, I actually asked my dad to take him to the doctor yesterday, but he just gave me some pills and told me to, quote, suck it up.
And then what?
He then says, like it's at the point that I'm asking to go to the doctor. And then he says, my mom laughed when I told her.
So that's April 4th, 2021, 11:57 p.m. His words, my mom laughed when I told her.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, April the 5th at 12:06 a.m. So we were looking at a conversation right up until midnight, April the 4th, and now we're in the early morning hours of April the 5th. What did the shooter write?
Shooter wrote, but I'm having bad insomnia RN right now and paranoia.
And then what?
He then says, I need help.
Okay. And the next slide, or the next text?
I was thinking I calling 911 just so I could go to the hospital.
And then there's a response from his friend on April the 5th.
Correct.
At 12:12 a.m. And then what did the shooter write?
The shooter writes, but then my parents would be really pissed.
Now, April the 5th, 2021 at 12:38 a.m. What did the shooter write?
The shooter writes, I'm going to ask my parents to go to the doctors tomorrow or Tuesday again. Then he says, but this time I'm going to tell them about the voices.
Right. Next text.
He then says, like I am mentally and physically dying.
Before we get to Exhibit 102, in the course of your forensic examination of James's phone, Jennifer's phone, and the school shooter's phone, you're able to look at certain apps that are installed. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And did you discover if an app called Life 360 was installed on Jennifer Crumbley's phone?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And what is Life 360?
Life 360, it's a tracking app that friends and family can install on their phone so they can know where they're at. I have it on my phone, and there's a family group, and my kids are on it, and I'm on it, my wife.
Did you find that app on James Crumbley's phone?
Yes, it was.
And through that app, you can see where someone's at and where they've been. Is that right?
That's correct.
And you look through the school shooter's phone as well, the defendant's son.
Correct.
Was that app installed on his phone?
No, it wasn't.
So it was just installed on James's phone and Jennifer's phone.
Correct, it was.
And that was on April the 5th of 2021.
I believe that's when it was installed, yes.
Okay. That's the same day as these text messages, like I am mentally and physically dying and asking to go to the doctor.
Correct.
Exhibits 102 and 103.
I'm sorry, are these, this is 102 and 103? We have no objection, sorry.
102 and 103 are admitted. I'm sorry, did you say that the date of the installation was April 5th? Is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am.
So on the screen here, we can see the timestamp purchase date, April 5th, 2021. That's on Jennifer Crumbley's phone, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And exhibit 103 on James Crumbley's phone, we have April the 5th, 2021 as well.
Correct.
During the course of your evaluation of all the electronic information, digital evidence available to you, did you uncover evidence in the spring of 21 of Jennifer Crumbley talking to a friend about what she saw as depression in her son?
Yes.
And were you able to review a Facebook conversation between Jennifer Crumbley and actually the school shooter's only friend's mother?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to make sure that I'm clear with you. In April of 2021, which is the same month of these text messages, Jennifer Crumbley texted her son's only friend's mother, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And in that conversation is when you uncovered concerning text messages as an investigator to this case.
Correct.
This is 104.
Thank you, and let me just take a quick look, I'm sorry. Yeah, I have no objection to this, thank you.
104 is admitted. That's just 104, right?
Yes, thank you, Judge. Okay, this is April 29, 2021. Now, this is from Jennifer Crumbley's search warrant return, correct?
That's correct.
So she's green in these.
Correct.
All right. So what does she write?
She starts with, Ethan isn't bowling tonight. Just want to let you know. Not sure if they need a partner or not.
Okay, and then her son's friend's mother, also named Jennifer, writes, is he feeling okay?
Correct.
And the defendant's response?
She responds back with, yesterday he wasn't, and he's been acting kind of depressed, so I don't know what's going on.
Okay, does this conversation continue?
Yes, it does.
What does the defendant write?
The defendant says, I'm not sure if there's something bothering at school. He really doesn't feel good. I can't get anything out of him.
Okay, and the person she's communicating with writes her son's name too. He stayed home from school today. The only time he's happy is when he's with the school shooter.
Correct.
And then her son has 2 E's and 2 D's. I'm wondering if he's worried about that. That's the other individual worried about her own son.
Correct.
Okay, that's 5:24 p.m. on April the 29th.
That's correct.
The conversation continues. What does the defendant write?
The defendant says, yeah, this is all new to me. I'm not used to Ethan being moody. He's usually pretty happy, and we'll talk about anything. I do know Ethan's been stressed about school and his grades. We called the school, but she wasn't in. Social, do it tomorrow. I think his grades have a lot to do with it. He just got to a point where he got so far behind, we were out of town. He's having difficult time making it up.
And then the other individual writes, I'm sorry, her son's struggling too. To be honest, I'm sick of fighting with him about it. Stupid online school really messed him up. I'm thankful her son has the shooter as a friend. They laugh and have a great time together. That's April 29th at 5:31 p.m.
That's correct.
Okay. And then what does Jennifer respond?
Jennifer responds with, yeah, me too. I'm just glad they're still getting along. And it wasn't an issue with those two as to why he was being depressed. The online school is horrible. I've given up too. I just told him to do the best. Don't worry about it. Next year is a new year.
Okay, and then what's the next text?
She says, maybe if, referring to the shooter's friend, feeling better, if he wants to come over after work on Saturday, he can take him up to go bowling and make up their scores. He's more than welcome to stay the night and go to work in the morning. We set up a little shooting range in the backyard for Ethan's BB gun. They could do that.
Okay. Okay, and the response was her son's been excited to shoot.
Correct.
Okay, and that was April 29, 2021?
Yes.
Okay, now, around this time frame in the text message conversation and the videos on the school shooter's phone, did you discover extremely disturbing information?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I'm not asking you to go into detail, but as an investigator, it was important to you.
Yes, it was.
Okay, and in fact, it was in the days after these messages were sent?
Yes, it was.
Okay, and the school shooter shared that with his friend, his only friend he had.
That's correct.
And you mentioned that his only friend was taken out of the state,
Correct.
and it seemed to be without notice to the school shooter?
Correct.
Okay. Did you uncover evidence that either James or Jennifer Crumbley commented on the fact that his only son was taken, or his only friend was taken out of the state?
Yes.
This is exhibit 105.
Yes, I have no objection to 105, thank you.
105 is admitted.
And you said that was around about a month before the shooting at Oxford High School?
Yes, it was.
Okay. So, this is from Jennifer Crumbley's Facebook, again to the mother of her son's only friend.
Correct.
Okay, and this is October 31st, 2021, 9 o'clock in the morning?
Yes.
Okay, and what does she write?
Jennifer writes, James filled me in on Ethan's friends last night. I'm so sorry you guys are having to make such a hard decision. Please let me know if you need anything.
Okay, and then November the 3rd, she wrote what?
She says, how are you guys all doing? Been thinking of all of you a lot.
Okay. And you know from your investigation, this is the time frame when the shooter's friend was taken out of the state?
That is correct.
Okay, in this conversation, November the 4th, that other individual writes what to Jennifer Crumbley?
She writes, hi Jen, We're doing okay. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I worry about him constantly and miss him terribly. I know that he's where he needs to be to get better though. Thanks so much for checking on us. I appreciate you and your family. She's referring to her son, the shooter's friend, was only happy and relaxed with you guys.
And in response?
Jennifer responds with, please keep us updated. I know Ethan misses him. If you guys need anything at all, please don't hesitate to ask.
And that was, again, in November of 2021 before the shooting.
Correct, on the 4th, yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to direct your attention to the days around the shooting and what you were able to obtain as far as the digital footprint of the Crumbley family.
Okay.
Starting November 26, 2021, is that date significant to you?
Yes, it is.
Why is that?
That was the day the gun was purchased.
Okay. And we heard yesterday that the gun is in the murder weapon?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That was a 9mm Sig Sauer handgun?
Yes, it was.
Okay. That's been admitted in evidence, and we heard it was bought from a firearm store in Oxford.
That's correct.
Okay. This is 106?
I have no objection to this one.
Okay, 106 is admitted.
Okay. This is just as an example, what information you can obtain from a search warrant on a Gmail account.
That's correct.
Okay. And so this is from James Crumbley's Gmail account, November 26, 2021, confirming that he was in fact at that firearm store at 12:08 p.m.
Correct.
Okay. Now, we talked about obtaining locations from somebody. This is 107.
We have no objection.
107 is admitted.
But before we get into 107, Exhibit 417, it's a video. Sir, in your analysis of the shooter's phone and Jennifer Crumbley's phone, social media accounts, you were able to obtain videos taken by the school shooter with that handgun, the murder weapon?
That's correct.
Okay. So 417, people moved to admit and publish to the jury. It's a video taken from November 26, 2021.
And Your Honor, I'm sorry, I have to just take a look really quick, because
Okay.
we just jumped ahead like a couple.
Yeah, it's 417.
Yeah, let me just take a quick look, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all right, there's a lot of.
And actually, I don't have 417 in the exhibits that I was given. Can I see? It wasn't on my hard drive that I was given. Okay, Your Honor, I have no way to play this, and I don't have this.
All these
Can
are
I just have?
I don't know.
It's a very short video.
It's not on our. I just need to see what the video is. Can we just unplug the computer and can you just show it to me really quick?
Is there audio?
No.
Was it provided to the defense?
Yes.
It's,
It was shown at the preliminary examination as well.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, it's not on the exhibits they gave me on the desk. So there's a million videos in this case and I have no idea which video it is.
Okay.
I probably have no objection. Can I just see what video it is?
Sure. Well, I guess I thought for a moment when he said it was played at the preliminary examination, it might refresh your recollection about what it was. But if you can take a quick look, that'd be great.
I don't have a flash drive player on here, so can we just turn the screen off for 1 second and just take a quick look?
Yeah.
And I apologize.
No, it's okay. There's a lot of stuff. I don't want to release the jury because their lunch is not made. I haven't made your lunch.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm sorry.
We're having lobster today.
Okay, and so this is 417.
417.
Okay. Okay, we have no objection to this one, and I apologize.
No, it's all right.
Just
It's all
didn't
right.
have it.
No, I
Thank
get
you.
it. I get it. It's a lot of stuff. Okay, so 417 is admitted.
Okay. May I, Judge?
Sure.
Thank you. Now, this is what you obtained from the shooter's phone, and it was captured 6:39 p.m. on November the 26th, 2021?
That's correct.
Okay. So that video was taken the evening the firearm was purchased,
Correct.
and that is in fact the murder weapon, the 6-hour 9mm?
Yes, sir.
I have no objection to those.
What number is it?
107 and 108, Judge?
107 was previously admitted, 108 is admitted.
Thank you. Okay, now, Agent Brandon testified yesterday to much about the evidence regarding the firearm, so I'm going to move you ahead to November 27th, which is the next day, the day after the 6-hour was purchased.
Okay.
All right. So, all right, 107. This is evidence obtained from James Crumbley's Gmail account, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, so you were able to tell what James Crumbley was doing from 8 a.m. to 8:59 p.m. on November 27th, 2021.
Correct.
Okay, and tell us what was he doing?
He was delivering DoorDash.
So these dots, these data points are what? What do they signify?
Those are the GPS locations that were provided when the location services was turned on from Google.
So we know he was out of the house basically the whole day.
Correct.
Okay. Now 108, we have Jennifer Crumbley's Gmail data points, and from what time period?
That's from 2:29 p.m. to 3:32 p.m.
Okay, and this is exhibit 108. It shows she's out of the house from about 2:30 to 3:30. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Now, the next day is Sunday, November the 28th, 2021. Could you get a feel for what Jennifer Crumbley was discussing based upon her Facebook messages, what her plan was doing on November the 28th, 2021?
Yes.
Okay. And in fact, you recovered chat history with an individual named Kira Pennick?
That's correct.
Okay. And during the course of this investigation, did you come to learn who that person was?
Yes, I did.
And who was that?
She was the owner of the horse farm.
Okay. That's the horse farm where Jennifer and James Crumbley would board their horses?
Correct.
Okay. She's going to testify later on in this trial, but you reviewed their Facebook chat history?
Correct.
Okay. So that's 109. People don't at 109.
Your Honor, can I just have one moment? This is a,
It says it's a thread between your client and Kira Pennick on November 28th. That's what it purports to be.
okay, and the exhibit that I received from the prosecution is 967 pages long. So I'm thinking that what I got is not
It's
what,
pages 930 to 933. We're not going to go through 1,000 pages.
well, no, I'm
Well,
just,
let's do it.
okay, I'm sorry. So what pages are they admitting as
930 to 933.
Okay, 930 to, okay, give me just a moment. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I got the whole file, like,
It's on the exhibit list. with
Yeah,
what
then
pages.
if the exhibit list indicates, this exhibit list is what I got on Tuesday. I'm not sure when it was shared with the defense, if it was the same day or not, but it says pages 930 to 933 are the only ones they're seeking to highlight.
I know, I'm just scrolling.
Okay, go ahead.
It's just taking me a little bit to scroll
Okay.
through. Ooh, sorry. I can't see the page on this. I need to use my computer. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get to 900. It just takes a little bit to load because it's such a big file. Okay, so it's pages 901 to,
930 to 933.
Exactly
Sorry.
what was written on the exhibit list.
and I'm trying to get to the pages. The file they gave me is much larger than 3 pages.
Okay. The exhibit
On
list.
every other exhibit, they have narrowed it down, and this one is much bigger. I just need a
Okay,
moment.
you're good, you're good. The exhibit list says, the pages that they're.
I know, but I can't pull it up fast enough because my computer's, I'm trying to go as fast as I can.
Okay.
Okay, I have no objection to this.
Okay, thank you. 109 is admitted.
Thank you. And this is a portion of exhibit 1. Okay, so green is who?
It's Jennifer.
Okay, and what's she writing?
Was his front swollen again?
Okay, and then the response?
That is from Kira Pennick. Right, I'm the same, I'm not sure, I'm not doing chores, but I'll ask my dad when I see him.
Okay, so did you come to learn when Jennifer writes, was his foot swollen again? She's referring to one of her horses.
Correct, yes.
Okay. And Kira's response?
If Billy keeps stocking up, I think you should have the vet out for him. Just want to make sure it isn't anything serious.
And Billy's who?
The horse.
And Jennifer's response?
He's got mid-fever. James is coming out in the morning to put some stuff on him and calling vet for antibiotics. And then she corrects with mud.
Okay. Billy's one horse and they have 2 horses at this point, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then what does Kira say?
Kira, then, that's crazy. Never seen it react like that. Want me to just put stuff on it daily? I can. I didn't do chores this weekend, so don't know if it got done.
So the last message in this exhibit from Jennifer Crumbley to the individual who boards those 2 horses is November 28th, 2021. That's Sunday, 8:18 p.m., Sunday night.
Correct.
And she writes, yes, let's do Tuesday. I'll have James leave the mixture out there. I don't think he's sore from the ground. He's just fine lunging. Just need to keep moisture off his scratches and get him on antibiotics. Should be clear in a week.
That's correct.
And that's again in reference to one of our horses.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, did Jennifer go to the barn that day?
Yes.
When you say that day, you mean the 28th?
Yes, thank you, Judge. This is 110, 111.
No objection to those.
110 and 111 are admitted.
Thank you. 110, this is from her Gmail search warrant return. We can tell that she's at the barn at noon on November 28th.
That's correct.
Okay, and she's back at home. This is exhibit 111 at about 2 o'clock.
Correct.
All right. Now moving on to Monday, November the 29th. That's the day before the shooting, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, what's the first thing that you see of importance to you as a forensic investigator from the day before the shooting that occurred on one of her devices?
It was a web history search or a web search.
Okay. This is exhibit 113.
We have no objection. I just want to make sure, I'm sorry, 112 was admitted.
No, 112 was not omitted. That's
Yeah, 112 was not admitted yet.
Correct.
Okay, so 113, we have no objection. Thank you.
113 is admitted.
Thank you. Okay, 113. This is a snippet from a Cellbrite extraction report of Jennifer Crumbley's web history.
That's correct.
Okay. So tell us, please, what was she researching November 29th, 2021 at 3:05 in the morning?
In the second column, you can see where it says research clinical depression treatment options. The Yahoo search that was used.
Okay.
In the third column, you can see exactly that's what was in the URL bar, the web address bar that you typed.
And that's the day before the shooting in the early morning hours?
At 3:05 a.m.
All right, now let's talk about the Facebook conversation between James and Jennifer from later that day, Monday the 29th. This is 114.
I'm sorry. I have no objection.
114 is admitted.
Thank you. Okay. November the 29th, 2021, 8 a.m. Jennifer writes to James, "Are you at the barn?" And then about 40 minutes later, she sends a question mark. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And then James responds to what?
He responds with, starting with a question mark, working on Billy.
Okay. So it appears, at least from this message thread, that he's at the barn with their horse Billy.
That's correct.
And then he sent a picture.
That's correct.
Can you tell what that's of?
It's horse's legs, it appears.
Okay. And what does Jennifer respond to that picture?
Do the fronts too.
Okay, this is 9:21 a.m. What does Jennifer say?
Jennifer asked, did you call the vet?
And then what?
Make sure you get back in between his heel bulbs.
Okay, and James's response to that?
He responds with, I did, and then fronts too.
And that's at 9:34 a.m. on November the 29th.
That's correct.
At 9:35, what does James say?
He texts, what exactly should I tell vet? Type out for me, leaving barn now.
Okay. And then Jennifer responds, Billy looks to have scratches / mud fever. He's starting to stock up on all fours and concerned about infection. He's not lame, sensitive to the touch, and they go down when he moves. Is there an antibiotic I can get him on? We just put Desitin and antibacterial on his legs today. That's November 29th, 9:41 a.m. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And then she sends a message to him.
Correct.
And what does she say?
She says, was he stocked up this morning?
And then James's response?
James responds with, he was stocked up more in the back than in the front. In fact, the front didn't really look stocked up at all. So I launched them for a few minutes before I put the stuff on it. And it took the swelling down a little bit, but I got the cream all over, you know, in between his heel bulbs and stuff like that. I'll call the vet here in a minute.
Okay. Now, sir, it's been a little tedious going through all of the messages regarding the horses. Give us an idea, because you're the one who actually extracted that information from Facebook. You reviewed it. How often will they show concern over their horses?
Quite often.
Okay. Okay, and Jennifer's response, this is the same conversation, November 29th at 9:58 a.m.
She responds with, it made sense, LOL.
Okay, and then James responds more about the horse, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And Jennifer responds to that message?
Yes, she did.
And that's at 10:15 a.m.
Correct.
Okay. Now, this same day, same time period, did you uncover evidence that someone from Oxford High School left a message for Jennifer Crumbley?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And in fact, that was at 9:41 a.m.
That's correct.
Okay, so that was in the midst of the Facebook conversation between James and Jennifer about their horse.
Correct.
Okay. And were you able to obtain that voicemail from Jennifer Crumbley's phone records?
Yes.
Okay. People move to admit 115.
No objection, Your Honor.
115 is admitted.
Thank you.
Hi, Ms. Crumbley. My name is Pam Fine. I'm calling from Oxford High School, and I'm here with the captain and the counselor. I was just calling to let you know that we just spoke with Ethan, had a really nice conversation. One of the teachers had sent an email to the office that she was concerned that Ethan, when she was walking around the room, catching assignments, that he was on his phone looking at bullets and that sort of thing. So she just wanted to have a conversation. We did. He said he had the shooting range with you this weekend, and we were like, yep. Guns are a hobby for a lot of people, and shooting ranges, and that's perfectly normal. And that we just wanted to make sure I had a conversation with him about the things he searches at school, and things versus searching at home, like, you know, can give a good example of like if the teacher makes beer at home, perfectly normal and healthy, but yeah, using searches for making beer at school. So we had a conversation. He was great. He was like, yep, I get it. So I just wanted to let you know that we did have that conversation with him, and about 5 minutes, and he was like, wow. All right, if you have any questions, you can give me a call. Otherwise, it'll be a great holiday. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay, that was the day before the shooting at 9:41 a.m.
Correct.
Okay. Did Jennifer Crumbley access that voicemail?
Eventually, yes.
Okay, this is exhibit 116.
We have no objection.
116 is admitted.
Thank you, Joe. And according to your analysis, she accessed the voicemail at 11:49 a.m.
That's correct.
Okay, so that's still in the midst of the conversation she was having with James about their horse.
Correct.
Did you uncover evidence that Jennifer Crumbley texted her son about that voicemail?
Yes.
Okay. This is exhibit 117.
I have no objection.
117 is admitted.
Okay. Now, owner, Green, this is Jennifer because it's from her phone, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and in fact, you were able to take the whole text message conversation that existed between between Jennifer Crumbley and her son. Is that right? And if it were to be printed out, it'd be over 200 pages or so, is that right?
Sounds about right, yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you portions from November 29th and we'll refer back to this. So November 29th at 11:53 a.m., this is a few minutes after she listened to the voicemail. What did she write to her son?
She says, seriously, 2 question marks, looking up bullets in school, question mark, question mark.
And he writes back, what? And then, oh yeah?
Correct.
And then he wrote what?
I already went to the office for that. It was in first hour. All I did was look up a certain caliber at the end of class because I was curious. It was on my phone.
Okay, that's 11:53 a.m., November 29th?
11:54.
11:54, thank you. And then what did he write?
Completely harmless. Teachers just have no privacy. They said, I'm all good.
Okay. And then the next message?
The shooter continues, I understood why. They talked to me and they said, I'm good.
Okay, and then he wrote, this is nothing I should get into trouble. This is nothing I should get in trouble about.
Correct.
He wrote that to the defendant at 11:55 a.m.
That's correct.
And what was her response to that?
You're not. They left me a voicemail with the hand over face emoji twice.
Okay. And then what did she say?
She then says, did you at least show them a pic of your new gun?
So she wrote at 12:14 p.m., did you at least show them a pic of your new gun?
Correct.
And his response?
No, I didn't show them the pic. My God.
And then what?
I only told them I went to the range with you on Saturday.
Okay. It was, I only told them I went to the range with you on Saturday.
Correct.
Okay. And then what did he say?
It was a harmless act.
Go ahead.
I have this bullet cartridge in my room that I didn't what kind of bullet it was, and it said it was a 22. So at the end of first hour, I just looked up different types of 22 bullets. And I guess the teachers can't get their eyes off my screen, SMH.
And then what did Jennifer respond to that?
She responds with, LOL, I'm period, not mad. You're not, you have to learn, not period, 2 period, get caught, period.
And his response to that?
IK or I know, LOL.
And then?
2 laughing emojis. And then he responds with, I just didn't want something this little to get me in trouble because, well, I didn't want to get in trouble, LOL.
Okay, and then what did he write?
The shooter says, I want to hear the voicemail when I get home though. Also, I never tried to hide me looking up the bullet. I just didn't think a teacher would be staring at my phone.
And then what did she say, the defendant?
She says, okay, I saved it.
Sir, did you find evidence that Jennifer discussed this incident with her husband, James, that day?
Yes.
This is 118.
Thank you. No objection to 118.
118 is admitted.
This is a Facebook message between James and Jennifer Crumbley.
Correct.
Okay. And then Jennifer's now in blue.
Correct, yes.
Okay. And what did she write?
She writes, Ethan, tell you what happened today.
And his response?
James' response was, yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but there's no further discussion between the two of them on Facebook Messenger.
No, there is not.
Now, sir, I want to take you back to the day of the shooting, November the 30th, 2021. And what we'll do is go step by step with what you were able to discern from your available sources of information. Okay? All right. Exhibit 119. Well, first of all, we already talked about how you were the individual who went through all the surveillance video. Correct. And it was your responsibility to put together that timeline. Correct. And did you also put together the timeline when the school shooter was dropped off at school?
Yes.
Okay. And he was dropped off at 7:46 a.m. on November the 30th?
That's correct.
Okay. Any objection to this?
No objection.
119's added.
Do you see him being dropped off?
Yes. Same with the gray hoodie and had a black t-shirt on.
Right there?
Correct.
Judge, and looking at the time, this might be a good time to break for lunch, given the fact that we're starting to go through the evidence from the day of the shooting.
If their lunch is ready.
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
Just because this is now that's a transition.
Oh, okay, all right. Your lunch is here, so, I wanna let you know that because you're on the stand right now, you're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone until you're finished testifying, okay?
When?
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I apologize. I apologize.
I didn't
Yes,
mean
ma'am.
to wake you up.
No, I'm awake, Anthony. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right.
I was thinking.
We're in the middle, don't do that. We're in the middle of your testimony, so you can't discuss your testimony with the other side.
Absolutely.
Okay,
You can't
step
eat
down.
lunch.
You can eat lunch, you can eat lunch, you just can't talk about the case, all right? So you can step down, all right? So, can we come back at quarter to one? That's enough time, right? So your lunch is ready and in the table, okay?
All right, for the jury.
I thought you were dismissing the first name. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right, it's all right. I like the jury to know that I'm telling you that, so they understand that. Okay, they can take her down. There's
Recording stopped.
be seated.
Recording in progress.
And you are so okay? We'll have
Thank you. Okay. I'm going to now direct your attention to Exhibit 119. We spent a lot of time, I'm sorry, Judge, just for the record, so your knows, we have paralegal Mandy Nell at that table to help with the exhibits.
Okay.
Because once again, he does not trust me with the clicker.
I understand.
This is true. Sir, we spent some time talking about the background of the Crumbley house. So we're going to talk now about November the 30th, 2021. You stated that you were able to put together a sort of digital footprint from that day.
Correct.
Okay. So Exhibit 119, which has been admitted, this is the Oxford High School surveillance video from when the defendant's son was dropped off. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Were you able to determine that he was dropped off by James Crumbley at 7:46 a.m.?
That's correct.
Okay. Were you able to determine the time that Jennifer Crumbley got to her place of employment that day?
A little after 9 in the morning.
It's Exhibit 120.
We have no objection to that.
Thank you. Sir, this is a screenshot from surveillance footage of her employer from November the 30th, 2021. And that's Jennifer Crumbley on November 30th, 2021, entering that building at 9:04 a.m.
Correct.
Now, shortly after she arrived, did she receive a phone call from the school?
Yes, you did.
Exhibit 121.
We have no objection.
121's admitted.
And this is a snippet from her phone log, would that be correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so November the 30th, 2021 at 9:24 a.m. was a missed phone call, and that's from Oxford High School.
That's correct.
Okay, and she called the school back at 9:27 a.m., is that right?
That's correct.
And they had a 5-minute and 43-second conversation?
Correct.
Okay. Now, did she receive a text shortly after that phone call?
Yes.
Right, this is Exhibit 122 and 123.
I have no objection to 122 or 123.
122 and 123 are admitted.
So 122, this is the text message found on her phone from an individual. It ended up being her son's school counselor at Oxford High School.
Correct.
Okay, and this is a picture of what we'll call an altered math worksheet at 9:31 a.m.
Correct.
All right, and if you were to click on that link, this would come, correct? Okay. And then she also received an email with the original math worksheet.
That's correct.
All right, this is Exhibit 124.
No objection.
In this email,
124 is admitted.
thank you. That was shortly thereafter. And the image in the email was in fact Exhibit 74, which was the math worksheet that her son created on November the 30th.
Correct.
Okay. So she had this information about 9:30 in the morning on November the 30th.
Correct.
Okay. Did Jennifer contact James right after that?
Yes, you did.
No objection.
125 is admitted.
So this is the Facebook message chat, the one that was deleted from Jennifer's phone. Blue is Jennifer Crumbley, is that correct?
That is correct.
And green will be James Crumbley.
That's correct.
Okay. So at 9:33 a.m., what did Jennifer write to James?
Call now with now in all caps, emergency. And then she texted again less than 2 minutes later, emergency.
Okay. And she sent these two pictures, both the original and the altered worksheet to James?
That's correct.
And this is at 9:38 a.m.?
Correct.
What was James's response at 9:44?
James responded with, "My God, WTF."
What is it?
WTF, what the fuck?
Right.
Then responded, "Vet not here yet. It's McElmurray for Kira's horse, still waiting on vet."
And we already talked about that they were concerned over one of their horses' medical issues.
Correct.
Okay. And what was Jennifer's response at 9:50?
She responded, "He said he was distraught about last night."
And James's response to that?
We talked about it this morning, and then he asked her, "You talked to him?"
Okay, and that's 9:51. And what was Jennifer's response?
6 minutes later, she texted, "Can you call?"
Did Jennifer leave her work and head to the school?
Yes, she did.
Okay. Did Jennifer Crumbley also text this picture, Exhibit 74, to anybody else at that time?
Yes, she did.
Okay. This is Exhibit 126.
We have no objection?
126 is admitted.
Now, she sent this picture, this text to Andrew Smith at 10:05 a.m.
Correct.
Okay. Did you learn who Andrew Smith was?
Yes, I did.
And that was her boss?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And what did she text with the caption on this picture?
She said, "I have to go to my kid's school. Counselor just called, and this is what I'm dealing with. I'll be back 11:30 to 12 at the latest."
And did she leave?
No objection?
127 is admitted.
Okay, this is her leaving at 10:06.
Yes.
I want to go back to Exhibit 125 briefly. Skip over it. She wrote, "Can you call at 9:57?" And then what did she write?
She wrote, "Heading to his school, I'm very concerned."
Okay. So at 10:04, she wrote, "Heading to his school, and I'm very concerned." At 10:05, she sent that picture right here to Mr. Smith.
Correct.
At 10:06, she walked out the door to the building.
Correct.
Okay. Did James and Jennifer Crumbley have a phone conversation at this point?
Yes, they did.
Okay. This is 128.
No objection?
128 is admitted.
And sir, this is a snippet from the call log found in Jennifer Crumbley's cell phone. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So, well, first she got a phone call from the school. This is a phone call to the school counselor at 10:07 a.m.
That's correct.
That's a 40-second call.
That's correct.
Okay. I'm sorry, that was Exhibit 121, not 128.
I'm sorry, you said 121.
It's 121.
121,
Okay, and Your
It's
Honor,
part of the call log.
121 is previously admitted.
I would just ask that the witness answer questions instead of the prosecutor stating essentially all the information as he goes along.
Okay, so I guess it's the objection's leading.
Leading.
I'll rephrase.
All right.
All right, 128.
No objection?
Did James and Jennifer have a phone conversation after this?
Yes, they did.
Well, first, this is part of Exhibit 125. What time is this?
This is at 10:12,
Okay, and then what did she write?
heading to his school.
Here's Exhibit 128 from James Crumbley's call log. What is this?
It's a call to Jennifer at 10:29 a.m.
Okay. So at 10:29 a.m., they have a 7-minute and 16-second phone conversation.
That's correct.
Did both James and Jennifer Crumbley arrive at the Oxford High School?
Yes, they did.
Okay. And approximately what time did they arrive?
It was around 10:20, somewhere around there, I believe.
Okay. If I showed you a timeline that indicated 10:37 arrival, that sound right?
Yes, I apologize. Yes.
That's fine.
Yes.
Okay. Now, We had discussed this portion of the case at a previous hearing, and you had indicated they had arrived in one car and left in one car. Did you find that to be accurate?
No, it was inaccurate.
Okay, so tell me what happened.
It was, so the video system that they have only starts recording when there's enough motion to save space on the system. So they were too far away from the camera to pick up. When I initially saw them, all of a sudden they just appeared in front of one of the cars. So I assumed that they had come together,
Okay. And when did you come to find out?
that they had drove separately.
Okay. So exhibit 129 is a portion of the Oxford High School surveillance video that depicts their arrival and the period of time they were inside for that meeting with the council. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. People moved him at 129.
I have no objection, but I'm just wondering if it's the actual video that's
Correct.
That's the exhibit. Okay, no objection, thank you.
129 is admitted.
So there's a timestamp at the bottom. I want to make sure we see this. 10:36 a.m. and this is November 30th, 2021.
That's correct.
Okay. And let us know, please, when you see either the defendant or her husband.
The one vehicle was already backed in, and then there they are walking up.
They as the defendant and her husband
Yes,
in the magnified area.
correct, yes.
What's this portion of the video depict?
Them coming into the school,
What area of the school?
the front by where the offices are.
Okay. This is 10:39 a.m.
Correct.
What portion of the school is this?
Looks like the front office of the school.
Now this time right here, that's a broken clock, correct?
It is correct, it never changes.
So this is 10:40 a.m.
Correct. The counseling office.
I'm sorry?
They're in the counseling office. Sorry.
Did you come to learn who this person was? Who greeted them?
Yes,
Who's that?
Sean Hopkins.
Right. He's the counselor at the Oxford High School?
That's correct.
Or one of the counselors? I should
One of
say.
the counselors, yes.
And the time skips a little bit. This is now 10:52 a.m. What do you see in this portion?
That's the shooter coming out of the Mr. Hopkins' office.
With the red backpack?
Correct.
So they walked in at 10:41 and the shooter walked out at 10:52?
Correct.
This is 10:53. Who do you see?
That's James and Jennifer Crumbley coming out of the Mr. Hopkins' office.
Now, there was something in his hand here. What is that? You can tell?
I wasn't able to tell what that is.
Okay, Jennifer Crumbley has a piece of paper in her hand.
Yes, she does.
Did she have that walking into the counselor's office?
No, she did not.
And then right there, she handed that piece of paper to James Crumbley?
Correct.
So this is 10:54 in almost 10:55 a.m.?
Correct.
Okay. Did you see James and Jennifer Crumbley at the top of the screen walking
Yes,
to the cars?
yeah, they're at the top of the screen coming
Okay.
in school.
Thank you. What are we seeing in this scene right here?
One of their vehicles is leaving right there, the black one. And that third row on the far right, the other car should be leaving shortly now.
This is one of the Crumbley vehicles?
Yes, it is.
Right. And this is 10:57, about 10:58?
Correct.
Okay. So we saw them walk in at 10:41 to the office. Their son left at 10:52, is that right? And then we saw them leave the parking lot here at 10:57, 10:58.
That's correct.
So how long total, if you know, were they in the counselor's office?
It was about 12 minutes.
What's the first thing that Jennifer Crumbley did on her phone or social media after that meeting?
She sent a message to Kira.
Okay. This is 1:30.
We have no objection?
Enter is admitted.
So this is a screenshot.
Right.
Is that right? Okay. And these were taken from Kira Pennick's phone.
That's correct.
Okay. So the icon there, the picture on the horse, this is Jennifer Crumbley's words, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And what did she write at 10:58 a.m.?
Okay, I'll bring some out later. Just had to get my son's school, go to my son's school and meet his counselor. Shit day.
And then Kira's response?
Oh man, everything okay? Do you still want to do lesson tonight?
And then what did Jennifer respond to that?
Yeah, I still plan on doing the lesson. Everything's okay. He's just having a hard time after losing Tank, his friend going away to a treatment facility, and who knows what else. But he was caught drawing this on his math assignment today.
And then this is Exhibit 74, the math drawing that she was sent.
Correct.
And then what did Jennifer write in this post, or in this message?
As long as I can get out there early enough because I had to leave work for an hour. I have a meeting in Southfield at 3. I should be done with that by 4. I plan on being there. Plus the vet said it's better for him to move around to keep his circulation going while he's dealing with mud fever. Good times.
She's talking about her horse, right?
Correct.
When she said, I had to leave work for an hour, she's talking about when the school called her for the meeting.
That's correct.
And what was the response at 1:26 a.m.? I'm sorry, if you can read that.
It's Kira responded with OMG, oh my God, he needs some horse therapy. I bet then it cuts off.
Okay, that's fine. The rest of these will be in through Kira later on. What's the first thing that James does when he leaves the meeting?
Starts door dashing.
This is 1:31.
No objection?
131's admitted.
1:31. So what are we looking at right here?
That was a response from a search warrant served to DoorDash.
Okay. So we have not just the 30th, but we also have the 29th. I'm going to direct you to the first DoorDash pickup, November 30th, 21 at 11 a.m. Is that right?
That's correct, that's when he checks in.
Okay. So that was about 4 minutes or so, 3 minutes after he left the parking lot?
That's correct.
And Jennifer's text to Kira was about 2 minutes after she left the parking lot? Did Jennifer go back to work?
Yes, she did.
All right. Here's 132.
I'm sorry, Judge Henry, yes, no objection.
132 is admitted.
Thank you. And this is what?
Her re-entering her place of employment at 11:24 a.m.
Okay. And that's November 30th?
Correct.
Going back to exhibit 130. First, what's the next thing she does, either on her phone or social media accounts after 11:24?
I'm sorry.
If you recall, what's the first thing that she does after 11:24 on either her phone or a social media account?
I don't recall.
Well, that's fine. We have exhibit 130 already admitted. So 11:26 a.m.
Correct.
Okay. So you read the very top line of that OMG needs course therapy.
Correct.
This is 11:26 a.m. So she received this 2 minutes after she walked in the door at her employment.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead and read that.
It says, OMG, he needs some horse therapy. I bet he would love Mo. Whatever works for you, just let me know. I only have Bella's lesson tonight at 5:30, so anytime after her lesson is fine.
And what did Jennifer Crumbley write back?
Jennifer responded with, okay, yeah, well, he'll be coming with me tonight. James is working. He can't be left alone.
From the context of this conversation, did you take it that he was referring to her son?
Yes, correct.
And what did Kira write in response?
Does he want to ride?
And her response?
Jennifer responded, I don't know. Maybe brush a small horse so he's not intimidated, LOL.
And then Kira?
Kira responded with, Mo would be perfect. And then Jennifer responded with, okay.
Okay.
Kira then goes on to say, make it a family event. Coming out to the barn, really though, I've seen some amazing things done with horses, with kids.
Thank you. Now, did Jennifer Crumbley text her son after that school meeting?
Yes, she did.
This is 133.
I'm sorry, sorry. I have no objection, I'm sorry.
133 is admitted.
Thank you. Now, this is the same text thread that we referred to earlier, found on Jennifer Crumbley's phone between, this was on the shooter's phone. Oh, I'm sorry, Jennifer Crumbley's phone.
Yes,
The entire text thread.
correct, yes.
Thank you. Okay. Green is Jennifer Crumbley, blue is her son.
Correct.
Okay. Tell us what she wrote to him at 12:21 p.m. on November the 30th.
She asked, you okay? And then he responds shortly after that, yeah, I just got back from lunch.
Okay. And what did she say?
About 60 minutes later, she says, you know you can talk to us and we won't judge.
And his response to that at 12:42 p.m.?
At 12:42, he says, IK, or I know, thank you, I'm sorry for that, I love you.
Now, we'll introduce the rest of the thread. Did she respond to that?
No, not immediately, no.
When did she respond to it?
After the shooting started,
After shooting was made public?
yes.
How many minutes later, if you know?
Over a half an hour.
Now, you're the investigator who pulled the footage, you reviewed the footage, and you know the timeline of the shooting, the day of the event.
Correct.
Okay. And so at 12:42 p.m., you know that was a few minutes before the shooter went into the boys' bathroom outside of classroom 258, and began to load his firearm.
That's correct.
And he emerged at 12:51 p.m.
That's correct.
Now, what's the first relevant event in either James or Jennifer's phone or email or social media accounts after 12:42 p.m.?
An email was sent to James's phone. It was high school.
This is 134.
No objection.
134 is admitted.
Thank you. This is an email from Oxford Community Schools sent to James Crumbley's email address at 1:09 p.m.
Correct.
And that's, to your knowledge, the active shooter alert that went out to all parents in the district?
That's correct.
Now, when James received this, he was still making DoorDash deliveries?
Yes, he was.
Were you able to pull location history from his device?
Yes, correct. Yes.
This is 113, oh, sorry, 136.
No objection?
Is this 135 or 137?
136, Judge. We skipped 135.
No
Wait.
objection.
I have no objection to 136.
136.
And then, are you gonna do that?
No, we're skipping 135.
You're skipping, okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep my numbers straight.
136 is admitted.
Thank you, Judge. So this is location data from his email, the email that he received the active shooter alert,
Correct.
November 30th, 2021, and this is at what time?
This is at 1:13 p.m.
Okay. Where is this?
This is at the Meyer. He's in the parking lot of the Meyer.
Okay. And that's the Meyer off of Ray Road?
Yeah, it's the one that I responded to, yes.
Okay, so that was the reunification location for all parents.
Correct.
Did he stay there?
No, he did not.
Okay. How long was he there?
I think just a matter of minutes.
But did he call Jennifer?
Yes, he did.
This is exhibit 137.
No objection?
137 is admitted.
This is a portion of the phone call from James Crumbley's cell phone download. November 30, 2021 at 1:15 p.m. he called Jennifer Crumbley.
That's correct.
Okay. And that was how long phone call?
Just less than a minute.
And based upon your analysis of his GPS locations, where was he at when he made the phone call?
He was still in the Meyer lot, I believe.
Still in Mark. Okay. Now, did you find out that Jennifer Crumbley left her work around that time?
Yes, she did.
Okay. Exhibit 138 is a surveillance video of Jennifer Crumbley leaving work. Objection?
No objection.
138 is admitted.
So this is 1:18 p.m.?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so this is after the active shooter alert went out at 1:09 and after she was on the phone with her husband.
Correct.
Sir, did it appear from your analysis that Jennifer and James Crumbley spoke on the phone after she left work?
Yes, she did.
1:39.
I apologize, just really quick. 138 was the video we just saw. 139 we have no objection to.
139 is admitted.
And okay, and both were admitted, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
It's the call log off of James Crumbley's phone. November 30th, 2021, 1:19 p.m. And how long did they speak for?
They spoke for a little over 10 minutes.
Okay, when I say they, it should be clear.
James and Jennifer.
Thank you. Okay. Could you tell that while she was on the phone with James Crumbley, did she send any messages?
Yes, she did.
Okay. Do you recall who she sent a message to?
I believe it was Andy Smith she sent a message to.
Do you know who else she sent a message to?
I don't recall.
Did she message her son?
Yes, she did. I apologize. Yes, yes.
Okay. So this is 140. This is location data.
No objection?
140 is admitted.
Thank you. 140. This is GPS location data for James Crumbley. This is 1:20 p.m.
Correct.
Okay, November the 30th, and this is at their home at 112 East in Oxford?
On East Street, yes.
Okay, so just to back up, just to make sure we're clear, James Crumbley received the active alert email at 1:09.
Correct.
He called Jennifer Crumbley at 1:15 while he was at the Meyer parking lot.
Correct.
and he leaves the Meyer parking lot and he's home at least 1:20 p.m.
Correct.
Okay. And they had a 10-minute phone call that began at 1:19 p.m. that indicates to you that they're still on the phone?
Yes.
Okay. This is 1:41.
No objection?
141 submitted.
Okay, so about this time of the day, could you tell if Jennifer was on the move?
Yes, she was.
Okay, so this is what time?
This is at 1:20 p.m.
Okay, and this is at her location of her employment, correct?
Yeah, Telegraph at Square Lake,
Okay.
south of here.
This is 142.
No objection?
142 is submitted.
So you said that while she was on the phone with her husband, she texted her son?
Yes, she did.
This is 142.
Okay, I'm sorry, hang on. Let me just pull it up real quick, I'm so sorry. Okay, sorry, thank you. Sorry, thank you.
November 30th, 2021 at 1:18 p.m. Did she respond to the message that he sent her at 12:42?
Yes.
What did she write?
She said, "I love you too." Then says, immediately after that, "You okay?" Then 4 minutes later, she says, "Ethan, don't do it."
That was at 1:22 p.m.
Yes, it was.
That was after James Crumbley was at their home, 112 East in Oxford.
That's correct.
That's while she was on the phone with him.
Correct.
You said she sent a message to her boss, Mr. Smith.
Yes, she did.
Go back to exhibit 126. What did she write him at 1:23 p.m.?
1:23, she texts, "The gun is gone, and so are the bullets."
And then what did he respond?
He responds with, "I'm praying everything is okay." And Jennifer says, "OMG," or "Oh my God, Andy, he's going to kill himself. He must be the shooter."
So that's right a minute after she wrote to her son. Come to find out that James Crumbley called 911 that day.
Yes, he did.
Was that at 1:22 or 1:20, or was it later?
It was later.
And was it before or after they had this text message conversation?
It's after.
Phone call.
After.
Okay. So in fact, did you find that James Crumbley called 911 at 1:34 p.m.?
That's correct.
Exhibit 143.
It's the actual policy. No objection, thank you.
143 is submitted.
So just so council knows, it's all listed in the exhibit list. It says 911 call. Easier.
It does, but I'm like, there's one of me. I'm going as fast as I can. I'm
Okay.
trying.
Oh, that's right.
Exhibit
Okay.
143.
What's the location of the emergency?
Okay, I'm not really sure. I'm at my house. There's an active shooter situation going on at the high school. My son goes to high school. I have a missing gun at my house. I need an officer to come to my house right away, please.
Okay, I'm not gonna be able to get anybody to your house right now. So they're on the active shooter situation right now.
I understand that. There's a million out there. I have a missing gun and my son is at the school. And we had to go meet with the counselor this morning because of something that he wrote on a test paper. And then I was in town and I saw a whole bunch of cops somewhere. And I made sure that I wanted to get to the hospital so someone from the high school. And then someone told me that there was an active shooter. And then I went home just to find out. And I think my son took the gun. I don't know. With him, I don't know what's going on. He's really freaking out. My son's name is Ethan Crumbley. C-R-U-M-B-L-E-Y.
I'm just be careful for just 1 second, okay? I just have to go to the clinic and see if I can do anything for you, okay? For example.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Crumbley?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna give your name and phone number, and I'm gonna have our lieutenant that's out there dealing with the situation. He's gonna contact you, okay? What's your first name?
My first name is James.
Is that name Crumbley?
Yes.
Okay. And what's that phone number for you?
240 760 6:43.
Okay, do you know if he started when he left the house this morning?
He had on a pair of sweatpants and then like a gray shirt, a gray like sweatshirt.
Okay. Alright. Alright, so he's gonna give you a call, okay? I can't give you the time frame because of the right in the middle of all of this. I can't give you a time frame, but we're gonna give you a call so that it's possible, okay?
Okay.
Alright, thank you. Bye-bye.
Sir, we saw with the location data that James Crumbley left the Meyer on Ray Road at 1:17 and he was home by at least 1:20.
That's correct.
What's the relative distance between the Crumbley household and Oxford High School?
Less than a mile.
Okay. Now, after this phone call was made, did you learn that James and Jennifer arrived at the Oakland County Sheriff's Office substation in Oxford?
Yes, I did.
It's 1:45. No objection.
Well, what is this, 144?
144, yes.
Okay, 144 is admitted.
So this is a call log. James Crumbley's phone call. Are you aware whose number that is, number 17?
Yeah, actually, it's one of the sergeants in Special Investigations, Sergeant Joe Bryan.
Okay, so this is after the shooter is taken into custody.
Correct.
Okay, so you know that he was taken into custody right about 1 p.m. on November the 30th?
Yes, he was.
Okay, and this is 1:50 p.m.
Correct.
Okay, so Sergeant Bryan learned who the shooter's parents are and he made a phone call to James Crumbley?
Correct.
And shortly after this, did James and Jennifer Crumbley both go to the substation to meet the police?
Yes, they did.
No objection. No objection to 145 or 146.
145 and 146 are admitted.
Just quickly, this is the verified. So they were in fact at the Sheriff's Office 148, both James and Jennifer Crumbley. Is that right?
Correct. I'm sorry, yes.
I'm sorry.
Correct. 150.
Oh, what? Thank you. Okay.
Okay, so they're at the Sheriff's Office at 1:58. Did you come to learn when they went back home?
It was about a half an hour after, less.
This is 1:48.
Okay, no objection.
So you're
So
able
is
to,
this one and 147?
I'm sorry, 147 and
147.
148.
Okay, they're both admitted, all right.
So on Jennifer's phone, you can tell that she's at home by 2:30
Correct.
on November the 30th. Okay, and same with James.
That's correct.
Okay. So this is after they went to the sheriff's office and their son was in custody and then went back home.
Correct.
Okay. Now, sir, did you have the opportunity in the course of your investigation to review what we have referred to as the burner phones as well as the replacement phones?
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm going to move ahead to December the 4th, 2021. Are you aware that they were arrested in the early morning hours of December the 4th, 2021?
Yes, I am.
Okay. This is 149 and 150.
We have no objection to 149 or 150.
149 and 150 are admitted.
So I'm showing you 150. May I approach the 149?
Sure.
Sir, this is, why don't you tell me what that is?
This is a report from Celebrate from a phone.
Okay. And that's from her, what we call burner phone?
Correct.
Okay. And up on the screen, 150 indicates that she had set an alarm on her burner
Robert,
phone.
I would just ask that the witness answer the questions.
Yep.
Leading.
That's fine.
Assisting.
That's fine. What is that show?
This is there's a thumbnail of what is seen on the right side of the screen there, of the alarms being set at 6:30 on Saturday morning or 6:45 Saturday morning.
And that's December the 4th, 2021.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Now, did you find evidence on the replacement phone, which is the phone that was ported with their original numbers, that they had attempted a two-factor authentication for social media accounts?
Yes, they did.
Okay. Now, we had talked at the very beginning of your testimony about deleted content and your ability to recover deleted content. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Okay. Were you able to uncover some deleted content in this particular case?
Yes.
And we've talked about the Facebook message chat between James and Jennifer Crumbley.
Correct.
And you've already indicated that that chat was deleted from Jennifer Crumbley's phone.
That's correct.
Are we able to obtain a Facebook thread between Jennifer Crumbley and someone named Brian Malash?
Yes.
And was that through a Facebook search warrant?
Yes.
And did you uncover any messages before December the 1st of 2021?
No.
Okay. So if you were to learn that they had communicated on a regular basis through the Facebook Messenger chat, but you couldn't recover it, what would that indicate to you?
That it was deleted from the phone.
But on both ends, if you couldn't
Yes,
recover from
correct.
the server.
Correct.
Okay. Now, going through the evidence that you were able to uncover from Facebook itself, could you tell that some messages were selectively deleted?
Yes.
Okay. This is exhibit 151.
Is this one fine? Okay, no objection.
151's admitted.
So this is portion of what you recovered from the Jennifer Crumbley and Brian Malash Facebook chat. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So what are we looking at here?
The first message is an automated one sent from Facebook to the device. You unsent a message.
Okay, and what's the next?
The next one says, from Jennifer, we're on the run again, helicopters, not sure where to, I'll message you.
And when was this message sent?
You can see it says +0 for UTC. So you have to subtract 5 from the actual time that's displayed there, from there. So that would have been 7:31 in the morning.
And what day was that?
7:31. That was on December 12th, or December 2nd, I'm sorry.
Okay. So the shooting was November 30th. That was a Tuesday. Wednesday was December the 1st. This was the morning of December the 2nd.
Correct.
And this indicates to you that they were deleted by Jennifer Crumbley?
Yes, correct.
How can you tell that?
The message, the automated response sent from Facebook saying you unsent a message.
Also 151. What time and day is this?
This is, it's 7 p.m. UTC, which is minus 5 hours, so it's 2 p.m. on December 2nd.
Okay, that's Thursday, December 2nd. And what did she delete from her phone? What message?
She had sent him, we're fucked.
She deleted that?
Yes, she did.
Go back to exhibit 126. Were you able to tell that Jennifer Crumbley deleted some messages she sent to Andrew Smith?
That's correct, yes.
And how were you able to tell that?
Because of the screenshots that were obtained from Andrew Smith don't match what was obtained from her
Okay.
device.
It's exhibit 151.
No objection.
Okay, so before we get to 151, which is the extraction.
151 is already admitted.
Yes, thank you, Jen. Before we show that on the screen, 126 here, these are the screenshots found from Andrew Smith's actual phone.
That's correct.
Okay, so at 10:05 a.m., this is Jennifer writing this and sending this picture, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then we just gone through this. At 1:23, she wrote, "The gun is gone and so are the bullets."
Correct.
Okay. And then, what did she write after that?
I'm praying everything is okay.
That's what Andrew Smith
If
wrote?
that's what Andrew said, yeah. Then she responds, OMG, oh my God, Andy is going to kill himself. He must be the shooter.
And then what?
I need a lawyer at the substation with police. Ethan did it.
Okay. And then what did she write him at 3:39 p.m. the next day? Or later that day?
Later that day. I need my job. Please don't judge me for what my son did.
And that was just a few hours after the shooting started, correct?
Correct.
And then what did he write in response and what time?
At 5:47 p.m., he responded with, "I can't even begin to understand what you're going through. I'm praying for you. I asked Carolyn to text you some attorney recommendations." And then she responded with, "They're taking my cell phone."
Taking my cell phone, okay. Here's 151, and the top message is what?
The one where she says, "I need my job. Please don't judge me for what my son did."
Okay, so that's on these screenshots, so we know that wasn't deleted.
Correct.
Okay, now what about this message here?
"I can't even begin to understand what you're going through. I'm praying for you. I asked Carolyn to text you some attorney recommendations."
Okay, and then we also have this final message there, taking my cell phone.
Correct.
Okay, but in the entire Cellbrite extraction from the text message thread between between Jennifer Crumbley and Andrew Smith on her phone, there were no other messages, correct?
Correct.
So that means anything before that message, she deleted.
That's correct.
Okay. So the only thing, "I need my job, please don't judge me for what my son did," that was 3:39 p.m. So the gun is gone and so are the bullets. It has been deleted. OMG, Andy, he's going to kill himself. He must be the shooter. That was deleted. "I need a lawyer at substation with police." That was deleted. The picture she sent at 10:05 a.m. was deleted, as was "the gun is gone and so are the bullets" at 1:23.
That's correct.
So I'm going to turn now to the Facebook messages between Kira Pennick and Jennifer Crumbley, specifically comparing what was found on Jennifer's phone with what was found from the Facebook search warrant from that particular chat.
Okay.
All right. 153 and 153.
Did we do something with 152?
We have no objection to admitting.
This was 152, Judge. We added this one.
Okay, you don't have any objection, but 152 is in there.
No objection, right, okay. And then I'm sorry, what was?
153, 153.
No objection,
Okay.
sorry.
So on to 153 and 154?
Correct.
153 and 154 admitted.
Thank you, Judge. Now, first, I'm going to show you 153, which was the messages left on Jennifer Crumbley's phone. I'm just going to show you the top portion of what is the Cellbrite extraction report. So tell us what we're looking at here.
We're looking at the participants involved, one of them being Kira Pennick, the other one being Jennifer Crumbley. At the very bottom of the screen, you see conversations to messages of 26.
Okay, and that's not 26 messages that you selected, that's all that's remaining on her phone.
That's correct.
Okay, and 154 is what?
That's you can see at the top extraction report, Facebook warrant return from both Kira and Jennifer, and it says instant messages 4,047.
Okay, so that would indicate that everything other than those 26 messages remaining were deleted by Jennifer Crumbley.
Correct.
And one moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
Nothing further to say.
Cross.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I want to go back to, I want to just start, you've been obviously involved in this case since the 30th of November 2021, correct?
Correct.
And since that time, you have collected and looked at an abundance of evidence related to the Crumbleys, the shooter, the shooting, everything, correct?
Correct.
And when you were testifying earlier, you testified that at a previous hearing, you had testified about the parents when they first went into Oxford High School, correct?
Correct.
And on that day, you had reviewed many, many materials prior to coming to court.
Correct.
And that hearing was a preliminary examination, which is a hearing that's before a trial, correct?
Correct.
And at that hearing, you did the best job you could in terms of explaining, answering questions.
Correct.
You were truthful on that day,
Absolutely.
as you're being today.
Yes.
And we can agree that you made a mistake about Mr. and Mrs. Crumbley arriving in the vehicle together at the school.
Because of the video, how it jumped, yes.
Okay, an honest mistake.
Correct.
And it's fair to say that when you didn't have more information, you made an assumption that they had been in the same vehicle together, correct?
Correct. I didn't know how many cars they had at the time.
You see them walk into the school together, but you couldn't see before that.
Correct.
And that's why you testified, honestly, you thought they had arrived together, but it was incorrect.
Correct.
And so you would agree with me that the more information you have about any topic and the less guessing, the more accurate the information will be that you give on this witness stand, correct?
I wasn't guessing before. I didn't know how many cars they had. I just saw them appear in front of the car.
Right, so when you testified and said they arrived in the same car, that was incorrect.
Correct.
And I'm saying that had you had more information about seeing the vehicles pull up or seeing each one get out of separate cars, your testimony would have been different, correct?
It would have been included in the video, correct.
And so my point is you do the best job you can with the information you have.
Yes, ma'am.
But you're certainly not someone who can go back in time and see and know every detail of every single thing that's happened, correct?
Not every single thing you could put together.
It's halftime. Time to open the fridge.
This is a fridge.
The cabinets and the pantry.
This is a great place for storing all your expired food.
Selling your home to Open Door is so easy. You can do it during halftime.
11/30th, correct?
That's correct.
And when you are doing that, you are taking data from cell phones and other investigators, from surveillance, from all these different materials that are a part of the investigation in this case.
Correct.
And it's possible that at times when you answer a question, you may not be accurate, but you're not sitting here intentionally trying to lie, correct?
It's absolutely correct.
Okay. I'm going to go back through the investigation that you did. It's fair to say, and I think you testified, you started obviously on November 30th of 2021, correct?
When the investigation started?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And can you give the jury an idea of how much time it takes to get certain evidence or kind of what it looked like going forward from 11:30 when you received various pieces of information? So on 11:30th, let's talk about what you saw that day. You obviously saw the surveillance camera from the school, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, on that day, did you have the surveillance camera from Jennifer's office?
That came afterwards.
Okay, that came down the road.
Yes.
At that time, did you have the text messages between Jennifer Crumbley and James Crumbley?
That came after. That would have been afterwards.
Okay, when did that come?
It would have been within a week, 2 weeks of that. We would have had to, like I explained, the process of getting the data from a phone. Depending on how much data there is, it could take a while, and then to sift through all of it. So it could be anywhere from a couple days to a couple weeks to get everything that you're looking for.
And in terms of the investigation, there were materials you had on the 30th, obviously.
Correct.
There were materials you received in the days following the 30th, correct?
Correct.
And there were some materials that law enforcement didn't have for weeks and months that became a part of this investigation. Is that a fair statement?
That's correct.
And as more and more information became available, you would turn it over to the prosecutor's office?
Correct.
And then you would assume that they would turn the evidence over to the defense for it to be used in court by all parties and the judge.
Yeah, I knew my job. I don't know what they're, they have to give that up. Yes, I understand that.
Okay, so at the time on the 30th, it's fair to say all of the evidence that you have in this investigation, I'm sorry, not on the 30th. The 30th was the day of the shooting, and Mrs. Crumbley was arrested overnight between December 3rd and December 4th, correct?
Correct.
And it would be fair to say that between November 30th and December 3rd, your office and team and all law enforcement were working as hard as they could to collect information and collect evidence, correct?
Correct.
While you were working as fast as you could, there were a number of materials that you did not see until after Jennifer Crumbley was arrested.
Well, just because of the sheer volume of information that we were pulling together at the time, yeah, I mean, it took a while to go through it.
And when you're looking at all of the information about Jennifer Crumbley in this investigation, much of what you're doing is looking back in time in hindsight.
In hindsight, we're trying to put a story together, a series of events or a digital footprint of what had happened. We're trying to put that together.
And as you're trying to put that together, you're doing the best you can to make the timeline and the evidence make sense, correct?
Correct.
But in terms of what happened in the months before the shooting, the day of the shooting, and the days after the shooting, you obviously were not with the Crumbleys 24/7, correct?
No, I was not. I didn't know them before this.
And it's impossible to have, there isn't any way to have a videotape, for example, of all those months, that shooting day and the days following, correct?
Correct.
So you take bits of information and try to put it together the best you can to make sense of it.
Are you referring to this investigation or throughout life?
Well, both. I mean, I guess we do that in both, right?
I guess in my life, if my son had hallucinations, I would have taken serious pause with that.
All right, let's stop for 1 second. When you say hallucinations, you're saying that you would take serious pause, but in reality, you did not know the shooter before this shooting, correct?
No, I did not.
You do not have awareness if he was really having hallucinations, correct?
I would have taken some time to look into it.
You're aware that there's this text thread, and we're going to get into it later, where he's telling his parents he's seeing things, correct?
Correct.
But you weren't a part of any of the conversations or a part of that household in those days around that text message conversation, correct?
No, I was not.
You said you didn't know them before this.
Okay, you're not aware of what Jennifer and James and their son had been talking about in person before and after those text messages.
Well, from the text messages, I know the son on a couple of occasions asked or spoke with his friend about seeing a doctor or wanted to go see his doctor, tell his parents tell his parents that he wanted to go see a doctor.
And while there are texts between the shooter and his friend, you have no evidence that Mrs. Crumbley has ever seen those texts, correct?
That she has read them?
Right.
No, I do not.
So there's texts that the shooter sent to his friend, and you have no way to know whether Jennifer Crumbley ever saw those text messages, correct?
Other than his own words say, I'm going to tell my parents tomorrow that I want to go see a doctor.
That telling his friend, I want to go see a doctor, and I'm going to tell my parents tomorrow, you don't know if he really wanted to go see a doctor or was going to tell his parents, correct?
I understand that's counsel's argument, but it's improper questions. You already answered the question.
Okay, you don't know whether Mrs. Crumbley saw the text between her son and his friend?
No, I do not, ma'am.
And I'm also making the point, Your Honor, and the question is, you also don't know if it's true that he really planned to tell his parents anything. He has a text to a friend saying that, but you don't know whether that's true or not, correct?
Other than him saying on a couple occasions, no, I don't.
Okay, and when you say a couple of occasions, there's text messages on certain days that you testified about, but there's many other days, we can agree, that you have not testified about, correct?
In reference to what?
In reference to what he said to his friend, or in reference to what he said to the Crumbleys.
I mean, did he have are you asking, did he have conversations with them? I don't understand the question, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, my question is, you've given us bits of information about certain days, about March 9th, about a date in April, about a date in November, correct?
Correct.
Okay, there's a lot of other dates that you did not give us information about what exactly was texted to and from Ethan Crumbley and Mrs. Crumbley, correct?
Correct, there wasn't much texting between them.
Okay, you also, there's certain messages that you testified about between the shooter and his friend.
Correct.
There's also a lot of other text messages between them that you have not talked about.
Well, because the stuff that was talked about was not allowed to be talked about. He talked about.
Your Honor?
Yeah, okay.
Well, I think it's important, Judge.
Yeah.
Counsel can't ask questions about evidence that she sought to exclude.
Okay.
Telling this jury that I sought to exclude evidence that was irrelevant is very unfair, and that is improper.
Okay, well, there's a lot of improper things here. No one's hiding any evidence from the jury, okay? So I don't want any implication that this witness is hiding what evidence from someone. So, yeah.
Thank you, Judge.
So don't ask about the messages if you don't want to know. So.
Okay. When you're talking about the text messages, let's back up and do this differently. You went through text messages between the shooter and his friend to find evidence to support that the shooter was having issues, correct?
To build, we went through the text message to try to get an idea of who he was and what he was going through and what he had talked about with his friends.
And when you saw text messages like you testified about involving seeing things and dishes flying and demons and things along those lines, you gathered those, and that was the evidence that you've presented to this jury to support your case, correct?
Well, because those are things of importance, that he was hallucinating and seeing stuff flying off the shelves. And there's no other evidence or that we could find on the phones or communication between them to say that that problem was remedied, or that a phone call was made to the shooter to what's going on, or how can I help you, son, or anything like that. None of that was found. So it was important that that was what he was struggling with.
Okay, you're guessing that is what he's struggling with. You're doing the best you can, but you're getting pieces of information out of text messages, and really you don't know these people or what was going on other than what you see in these texts.
He agrees with that. He didn't know any of them before this. Yeah.
Okay, I apologize. Well, I keep ending up in a situation where we're trailing off and repeating, and I would just ask that
Yeah, he
stop.
doesn't know them.
When Mr. and Mrs. Crumbley were at their home and law enforcement came to their house, it's accurate that the cell phones from the parents were taken by law enforcement.
The first time they came to the home?
Not necessarily the first time. I'm asking, police took the cell phones that Jennifer and James Crumbley used, police took those phones, correct?
Yes, they did.
Okay. And when police took those phones, Mr. and Mrs. Crumbley obviously went and bought burner phones or track phones.
Correct.
And you've testified that you can see that Mr. and Mrs. Crumbley, or at least Mrs. Crumbley, attempted to get into some accounts that required two-factor authentication.
That's correct.
Can you please explain very quickly what two-factor authentication means for the jury?
It's so someone can't get into your account with just simply your password. When you open up an email account or you open up a Facebook account and it tells you put your phone number in here. So when you try logging in from a phone or a device that Facebook doesn't recognize, it'll send a text message to the number that you said send a text message to. So then you enter that code into the app as you're trying to log into it. So it's two-factor authentication, your password and then a text message from the provider.
And so for things like sometimes bank accounts or portals to get into doctors, things along those lines, sometimes two-factor authentication is required where you would need your original phone, correct?
Correct.
Or at least your phone number to be able to gain access to your own accounts.
That's correct.
There are accounts that will block you out if you're using a device it's not used to seeing when you log in.
If the two-factor authentication is set up?
Yes.
Correct.
And so in this case, you could see that Mrs. Crumbley attempted to do some two-factor authentication and was unable to do so, correct?
I don't know if she was unable to do so. I know there's a text message that was received from Instagram with a two-factor. I don't know what happened with after that.
Okay, so after buying the track phones, the burner phones, it's fair to say that Mrs. Crumbley and Mr. Crumbley went to their phone carrier and purchased new phones that have their regular phone numbers on them, correct?
Was that after the burner phones, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yes, they did.
Okay, so when we're talking about the Crumbleys having 6 cell phones between them, the 6 cell phones include their original phones that were given to police, correct?
That's correct.
It includes these 2 track phones that have different phone numbers where you can't do the two-factor authentication, correct?
That's correct.
And it includes the 2 phones that were purchased after that so that they could have their phone numbers back on devices and then access accounts.
That's correct.
And from the phones, when you seize them, there is evidence that Jennifer Crumbley attempted to deactivate and delete a number of social media applications, correct?
There was talk about it in text messages. You need to delete this account or whatever. I don't know. Do you have something in particular that you're a certain account that you're asking? There are text messages within the exhibits the prosecution has admitted, and I can put them up, that show Mrs. Crumbley and Mr. Crumbley were trying to deactivate Facebook accounts and Instagram, correct? I know there were text messages people texting them telling them to do that, yes.
Okay, and part of the reason people in those text messages were telling them to do that is because after the shooting, there were threats and, there were a lot of threats against Mr. and Mrs. Crumbley.
Judge, respectfully, I don't believe this officer can testify as to the reason why people said that. He can testify that there was attempts to delete and things were deleted, but the reason for the motivation, he can't testify.
Well, he can't testify about the motivation, but did you see anything? Did you see threatening messages to them?
I don't recall seeing any no ma'am, I don't.
Okay. Do you recall that when in the text messages that Jennifer Crumbley sent out, she told Ms. Brian Maloche, she told Kira Pennick, she told multiple people that she was being threatened?
Are you telling me that?
I'm asking you.
I don't recall. If you have something to show me, I don't recall that off the top of my head.
Okay.
Did you tell Karen or Andrew something? Yeah, before we got Karen's message, the safety, the 1:30, above Kira for okay, this is for others.
Okay. Okay, so in okay. I'm gonna put on the screen exhibit number 130, which was admitted in your prior testimony. Is it?
Right.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. Now, within the text message thread between Jennifer Crumbley and Kira Pennick, this is a screenshot that was in that text thread, correct?
This is from Kira Pennick's, a screenshot of hers? Is that what this is?
This is in exhibit 130 that's been admitted. These are screenshots with Kira Pennick. And I am asking you, this is a screenshot showing threats to Jennifer Crumbley that Jennifer Crumbley showed to Kira Pennick.
I don't know. I don't remember ever seeing. I don't know where it says Kira Pennick in the title of the image, but I don't know.
Okay.
Is there a copy of the exhibit that you could? Did you say this is in 130?
Your Honor, this is in 130, and I apologize. I am going to have to go in detail through each exhibit. I did not want to do that, but it's very clear I'm going to have to. So I'm going to the top of this. This is a 28-page exhibit, okay? This was
he's having the same challenge you are, except there's so much paper that
right.
He can't say if there's a hard copy of the exhibit that could help him, right? Is there?
May I approach?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Okay, so this was admitted. These were admitted screenshots through your testimony. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do. I see the.
Okay.
Does that document refresh your recollection?
Well, this part, the word says met with his counselor. Yeah, that part, I remember that.
Okay, and in the thread, we see what you testified about in terms of Jennifer Crumbley sending over a copy of the math assignment.
Correct, I see that, yes.
Okay, we see the testimony you gave about Ethan being upset, having lost his friend and going away, and his dog.
Correct.
Okay, going further down, this is before the shooting started. Okay, so I'm on page 4 of that exhibit, going into page 5. This is all before the shooting, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and in this part, they're talking, Jennifer has told Kira Pennick, as you testified, about the math worksheet.
Yes.
She's told Kira Pennick about, I had to go to the counselor's office to have a meeting with them.
Correct.
Kira's talking about what horse Ethan could possibly be with that day that might make him feel better.
Correct.
And as the text thread goes down further, Kira and Jennifer, it's fair to say, remained in contact through the time of the shooting and after the shooting.
Correct.
Okay? And on November 30th, Kira Pennick is asking, she says, I heard there was a shooting at Oxford High School. Is Ethan okay? Correct?
Correct.
Okay? Saying, if you need anything, let me know.
Correct.
And after the time of the shooting at 4:42, Jennifer Crumbley is texting with Kira Pennick again,
Correct.
talking about how she needs to sell her horses.
Correct.
This is when she knows that the shooting has happened and she says, my head is spinning right now, correct?
That's what, yes, correct.
Okay. She's talking to Kira Pennick about selling the house back and forth.
Correct.
Okay. And Kira is talking about how she'll take care of the horses for Jennifer.
Correct.
Okay. And Jennifer says, I don't have my cell phone right now. She tells her I'm on this track phone.
Correct.
Because the police have her real phone.
Correct.
Okay. And then Kira tells her about how there's stuff on Facebook. People are figuring out what's going on, correct?
Correct.
And Jennifer indicates, I'm off Facebook, I'm still in shock.
Correct.
Okay. And Kira offers to send Jennifer, can you receive pictures? I'll screenshot it, correct?
Yes.
And then Kira goes on to send Jennifer screenshots of something a mutual friend posted that was about the shooting, correct?
That's correct.
And their discussions are about, it says right in the exhibit, I cannot believe people on Facebook. I'm so sorry you're having to deal with this stuff, correct?
Correct.
Okay. She asks a question about the medication, and Jennifer indicates we're at a hotel in Lapeer and that the news is live at her house, correct?
Correct.
Kira's response, at least in the text messages, is please stay safe, correct?
Correct.
And Jennifer sends her over what appears to be a screenshot from a social media app, maybe Facebook or I'm not exactly sure, but you can see that Jennifer sent a screenshot where she has received nasty messages to her.
So I'm just going to object to the form of the question. Mr. Rogowski can certainly read all of this, but calling it a threat or nasty, that's not for him to answer. That's for the jury to determine.
Well, yeah, they can characterize it.
They can read it.
But definitely they're not nice.
Okay, can you please tell the jury what these messages say? Larry Barton.
I'm sorry, you want to read them?
Sure.
What it says on it? It says rotten jail next to him.
Okay, Brandon Hegwood.
What a shame on you.
Kaylee Camacho.
Fuck your ugly ass kid, I hope.
Adam Tank.
What a fucking coward, Ethan.
Jennifer Crumbley texts to Kira, I can't go home.
Correct.
And Kira texts back that she's concerned for Jennifer's, when she says you guys, I'm concerned for you guys, and is expressing concern, correct?
That, yes, to stay away from the horses, correct, yes.
Okay. She also says she's worried about your horses or hurting you while you're here, correct?
Correct.
Okay. It's fair to say that Jennifer and James are afraid of the public's reaction to what their son did.
Again, Judge, form of the question.
I don't understand it.
Well, let me back up. I'm sorry, I can rephrase if that's okay. Okay, so we know the news has been around the Crumbley's home.
Correct.
Okay, so following the shooting, there was media all over their street, correct?
I wasn't there. I don't know. I wasn't there. I can't tell you if there's media there or not.
Okay, would it surprise you if there was?
It wouldn't surprise me, no.
Okay. There were some nasty messages coming into Mrs. Crumbley.
From the street, are you referring to? Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay. And Jennifer is saying she doesn't want to put anyone else at risk. And that specifically is on page 15 of the exhibit you're looking at.
Correct.
Kira is telling her about, or is commenting people are ridiculous, also talking about buying horses, other random comments in there. Is that a fair statement? There's some miscellaneous, I don't know.
She also said be honest about things too.
Yep, Kira's saying to her, the best thing you can do is be honest about things.
Correct.
Okay, Jennifer's not saying, I don't plan to be honest, right?
Didn't respond with that, no.
Okay, Jennifer's not saying, I've got a big plan to lie, help me put this together.
It's not in here, no.
Okay, we have no evidence to suggest that Jennifer's telling Kira to lie about anything for her.
Correct.
Okay, so when Kira's saying be honest, she's saying be honest, but you have no reason to believe that Jennifer's attempting to be dishonest at this point, based on that message.
At this point, no,
Yeah.
but they
And
were
then-
taken into custody for a couple days after they were told to turn themselves in.
I'm sorry?
They were taken into custody a couple days after they were supposed to be taken into custody.
Okay, we're gonna get there. We'll get there. Jennifer Crumbley is representing that she's trying to work out lawyer fees, figuring out about being questioned, if she's gonna be brought in, amounts she can pay, things like that, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and Jennifer is telling her, I'm bawling right now, my son ruined so many lives today.
That's correct.
And he did ruin so many lives that day.
Yes, he did.
And Kira is writing back to her. She wishes she could help more. She's also in shock, correct?
Objection again in the form of question, Judge.
Well, he doesn't know if she's in shock. She texts that.
Okay, I'm sorry. She texted, I am still in shock too.
That's what she texted, correct.
And Kira encourages Jennifer, take it one day at a time, and again, just be honest about everything. It should help you through this.
Correct.
And offers to take care of the boys, which we would guess is her horses.
The two horses at her farm, correct.
Jennifer is thanking her for not judging her, unlike the whole world, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, meaning that we can assume Jennifer feels the whole world is judging her.
Again, objection to the form of the question.
Yeah, well, he doesn't know. He knows what the text says. He doesn't know how she feels, but that's what she said.
Okay, that's what the text says.
That's what the text says, correct.
Kira says that she's not going to essentially judge Jennifer. It doesn't remotely make her think it's their fault, correct?
That's what Kira texted, yes, correct.
And then Kira says, it sounds like Ethan was a troubled kid.
Correct.
It's unfortunate this happened.
That's correct.
Okay. And Jennifer is texting her back, I wish we had some warnings. Something. That's what Jennifer texted back to her, correct?
Yeah, the hallucinations, back to that, could have been warnings for seeing demons.
Okay. And again, you didn't know these people, you don't know the context, you don't know what they discussed. We've already covered that earlier in your testimony, right?
I do not know them before this prior.
Okay.
Correct.
So you've talked about the hallucinations many times. The jury gets it. There's a text about hallucinations. We all agree. Those are there. Okay. To you, those would have been alarming. You would have acted differently based on getting that text.
Absolutely, I would have.
Okay. Jennifer Crumbley is texting her friend Kira in this text thread. That's what we're going over right now.
Okay.
And her texts are saying, I wish we had warnings.
Correct?
Correct, that's what she put, yes.
Okay? And Jennifer Crumbley wrote, he's a good kid. They made a terrible decision. and there may be typos, but it says, he's a good kid, they made a terrible decision, correct?
That's what she typed, yes.
Okay. Kira responds back, there probably were warnings, but nobody saw them. Hindsight is always 20/20. I don't care if you agree with it or not. That's what Kira says. Hindsight is always 20/20, correct?
That's what's typed there, yes.
Then Kira goes on and says, people at the barn are concerned. I'm sorry, I'll go slower, okay? A lot of people have found out Ethan's all over Facebook. That's the next thing she says, correct?
Correct.
And then she goes on to say, people at the barn are concerned.
Correct.
She tells Jennifer, I think it would be best if you didn't go out to the barn, or if you do, you should be escorted by police, correct?
Correct.
When someone's escorted by police, that's usually for safety reasons, correct?
Possibly, yes.
Jennifer says, seriously, those horses are the only thing good in my life right now. And this is after the shooting, correct?
Correct.
And Kira responds, I understand that, but we all need to be careful.
Correct.
So it's fair to say there was a concern about safety regarding Jennifer after the shooting, and also other people around her were concerned for their own safety.
Correct.
And it's also fair to say, and if you don't know, please just let me know if you don't know, a lot of people in this state hated Mr. and Mrs. Crumbley when they heard about this shooting.
Judge, he can't possibly answer that question.
Yeah, I don't know how he can testify to that.
Okay.
There was widespread attention.
There was widespread attention.
Yes, there was, that, of course.
And there were many news articles.
Correct, yes.
And people on anything like this are naturally upset to see a school shooting.
Absolutely.
And people naturally are angry to hear that children have died.
Absolutely.
And this was the kind of event that sparked a lot of emotion in a lot of ways.
That's fair to say.
That's fair to say for you personally.
Absolutely.
You would imagine that for other people, they were personally affected by this, very emotional.
Yes.
And it's fair to say that this kind of a tragedy it was just horrific. We can agree it was horrific.
The shooting, yes, it was, absolutely.
Jennifer tells Kira to call her on Facebook. She's on a track phone, needs to figure some things out, correct?
Correct.
If they did have a phone call, you're not aware of it. Well, and I'll slow down. The next message says, sorry, I missed your call from Kira, correct?
Correct.
But we don't know what happened in between the text about calling at 11:23 and the text the following day at 2:34. We don't know if there ended up being conversations or not. Is that a fair statement?
Correct.
You can't tell from this
Not
thread.
from this, correct.
So they're going back and forth, talking more and more about letting her know later today, things like that. There's talking horses in between all of this. Is that a fair statement?
Correct.
And on the bottom of page 22, Kira indicates, I don't want people to follow you or hurt you.
Correct.
And Jennifer says, we are out of the area for a few days. in a safe place until we have a better grasp on everything, correct?
That's correct.
She doesn't say we are trying to get out of state, we're trying to get out of the country. She doesn't say anything like that, correct?
Not in this chat thread.
Okay. In this, she says, we're trying to be in a safe place,
Correct.
which would indicate safety is, of course, a concern to the Crumbley parents.
By saying they're in a safe place, yes, I would say that.
Kira says, I'm glad you're safe. I care about you guys, correct?
Correct.
She assures her she'll take care of the horses. They'll talk about buying them, figuring out somebody to buy them, correct?
That's correct.
A few more text messages back and forth about meeting before then. And then on page 24 of that exhibit, Jennifer says, what's your number? I want to call and set up a safe place to meet, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, she mentions that her messenger is probably being monitored.
She does say that, yes.
Okay, and she's talking about she needs to get stuff, discuss the horses, correct?
That's correct.
And let's see, they're going through more about whether cash or checks are best.
What page is that?
It's
I see that,
on
yes, I'm sorry.
25.
Yes.
Okay, and you're aware that after the night of the night of the shooting, the Crumbleys went and stayed in a local hotel.
Yeah, correct. They went to a hotel, yes.
Okay, and the next day they went to a different hotel.
Correct.
Okay, which was also, I mean, maybe an hour from here, a local hotel, not out of state, not out of the country, right?
Within an hour, yes.
Okay, and so in the days following the shooting, the Crumbleys did not return to their home in Oxford.
They did not know.
And as far as you know, since the day of the shooting, the Crumbleys have never returned to their home in Oxford.
No, they've never been back.
Just see if there's anything else. I'm sorry. Okay, and then the rest of this is talking about possible charges being announced and things. Jennifer is saying she's anticipating there may be charges announced, criminal charges.
Yes, at the night before, I believe. On page 26, yes.
After the shooting.
Yes.
And when she's talking about charges, she's trying to figure out if they're charges. Well, I'm sorry, scratch that. She's talking about charges against herself, correct?
I'm not entirely certain if she's, it doesn't say whether she's referring to herself or somebody else.
Okay, so she's waiting to basically just figure out what's going on.
Judge, again, counsel can't narrate what she thinks her client was thinking. She can have him read the text message. I admitted it into evidence. They can have it all.
Yeah, okay, so there's a text.
Okay.
Maybe there, yeah.
So the text says, Jennifer Crumbley wrote, I'm not sure what's happening.
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay. From the text message thread that the prosecution introduced between Jennifer Crumbley and Brian Meloche, we also can conclude, and if you can't, let me know, that Jennifer Crumbley was trying to deactivate and delete social media accounts.
I believe she was, yes, I believe they discussed that, yes.
And Jennifer Crumbley is asking Brian Meloche things about, can you still see James's Facebook? Can you see my Facebook? Questions like that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. James and Jennifer Crumbley Jennifer Crumbley, in her text messages, is very clearly making it obvious. I'm sorry. She is telling Brian that she is shutting things down. Like that.
I don't remember the language that she used. I know they talked about it. I don't remember if she used the phrase shutting things down.
If a person has a Facebook account that they deactivate, okay, I'm gonna go even slower. When someone has a Facebook account, other people in the world have the ability to see that account, correct?
If it's public or your friends or whatever other security settings, well, yes.
However you have it set up,
Yes.
you allow who can see the account and who can't, correct?
That's correct.
If you do have an account and you don't want the world to see it, if you deactivate the account doesn't appear when people look for you on Facebook, correct?
That's correct.
So if the Facebook account is deactivated, people cannot send you messages through Facebook, correct?
That's correct.
And they can't send you messages through Facebook Messenger.
I'm not entirely certain if you'd have to deactivate Messenger as well. I don't know, because they are two separate platforms. It's under one company, Meta, Facebook, but I don't know if you have to deactivate both of them.
So with Messenger, if Jennifer Crumbley deactivated Messenger, we can agree that people wouldn't be able to send her messages.
Correct.
And in general, if a person is trying to avoid having people find them on social media, deactivating the account makes it so people don't find them, correct?
Correct.
So for example, Instagram. Jennifer Crumbley had an Instagram account and you testified about that to the jury, correct?
There's a two-factor authentication text message that was found, yes, with Instagram. Is that what you're referring to?
I'm not referring to the two-factor authentication, but you testified that Jennifer Crumbley had an Instagram account. Well, we can agree, she had an Instagram account.
There were posts that were admitted the other day, I believe, right?
Right,
Yes.
and in that, on Instagram, the whole point of Instagram is to post photos or videos, correct?
Correct.
And we can see the Instagram account that Jennifer Crumbley had with videos and pictures she had posted over time.
Correct.
And when a person turns off or deactivates their Instagram account, other people in the world don't have the ability to see those photos any longer, correct?
That's correct.
Other people in the world don't have the ability to send messages through Instagram to the person that's deactivated their account.
Correct.
So as a computer expert, if a person is trying to avoid having people see them or find them or see posts of theirs, even old posts, deactivating the account will accomplish that task.
Correct.
On that Instagram account, you are able to tell from the data that you received other accounts that Jennifer Crumbley followed.
Correct.
So meaning that from her account, Jennifer Crumbley had certain people she was linked up with where she could see what they posted on their accounts, correct?
Correct.
And on the flip side, people she was friends with on Instagram or connected to could see what she posted.
That's correct.
And we know that Jennifer's son had an Instagram account, e.crumbley, correct?
Correct.
And we can tell that Jennifer's account was connected with her son's in a way that she could see what he posted on that account.
Correct.
And we can presume he could see what his mother posted.
Correct.
When you are looking through the Instagram records, you are not able to tell which posts Jennifer did in fact see or not see, correct?
Correct.
So if the shooter posted something and Jennifer Crumbley had not checked Instagram, it's possible she would not have seen it even though he posted it.
Possible.
If he posted it and she looked at Instagram and looked at his account, looked at his profile, is that what it's called? She would certainly see anything he posted.
Looked at his account, you're saying, I'm sorry?
Yes.
Correct.
But in terms of all of the data you have, you don't have any way to determine which Instagram pictures she did or did not see.
Correct.
Now, if she made a comment on a picture, you would know she obviously saw it because you couldn't comment unless you had seen the picture to put the comment on there, correct?
That's correct.
And on the Instagram photos, there are not comments from Jennifer Crumbley to her son about the posts, correct?
On all the photos or a particular one?
I suppose the ones that we've admitted as exhibits in this case, the photograph of the gun, for example.
Correct.
And there's no doubt the shooter liked guns.
Correct.
And there's no doubt Jennifer posted photos of the gun.
Correct.
And videos.
Correct.
And even with what she posted, we can't tell if the shooter could see her posts.
Possibly, correct.
He may have seen them, he may not have seen them.
That's correct.
In terms of people communicating, we know that people can communicate obviously by telephone, voice phone calls. I don't take many these days because I hate them, but in the old days, we could talk on the phone from one person to another, correct?
Correct.
And there's the ability, obviously, to text. People can send messages from one person to another.
Correct.
And in terms of people's habits, some people may delete texts when they get them. Correct?
Correct.
Some people may keep every text they've ever had.
That's correct.
Some phones will delete texts after a certain period of time.
Not unless the user tells it to, no.
If someone gets a new phone, there are occasions where the old text from the old phone may not come up on the new phone.
I can't say for certain, I don't know. I haven't tested something like that yet, I don't know.
We can agree that everyone's personal habits in terms of how many texts they keep on their phone or don't are individual to each person.
Correct.
So when you're testifying and telling the jury about posts that you can tell or texts that you can tell are deleted or not deleted, you have never sat down and talked to Jennifer Crumbley about her habits with deleting posts or pictures or texts, correct?
That's correct.
The best you can do is look at what's deleted, what's not deleted, and tell this jury your findings.
Correct.
I want to go to March 9th of 2021. You testified pretty extensively about that date. Do you recall the materials from that date? And if not, I can certainly.
Yeah, if you have copies of it, I would prefer that. Yes, please.
Okay. So on that date, I'll approach with copies in just a moment. I just need to pull it up on my computer. I'm going to go to exhibit number 78. Okay. So, Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Sure. He has them on his screen.
You said you wanted hard copy.
Either way, it doesn't matter.
Okay, oh, okay.
Are you okay with the
That's
screen? Or do you want?
I'll have that, please.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So March 9th is one of the dates that you talked about.
Correct.
And the text messages that were introduced make it clear that James and Jennifer Crumbley made plans that day to go out to the barn, correct?
Correct.
And you have photos confirming that they were in fact at the barn, photos of horses they took.
Correct.
Okay, the jury has seen that the data shows the times these photographs were taken, so we know they're taken on March 9th.
Correct.
Okay, you've brought in GPS locations to prove they were there on that date.
Correct.
Okay, and it's on that date that Ethan Crumbley, the shooter, is sending his parents some texts that were admitted through Exhibit 82. Do you recall those texts?
I do, yes.
Okay. Now, in these texts, starting at, I'm gonna put it up on the screen. This has been admitted as Exhibit 82. At 3:17, we can see that the shooter asks his mom, "Where are you?"
Correct.
And I'm sorry, I have that one in my hand. Do you want me to trade with you?
I should be fine with this.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think council misspoke.
I'm sorry, Jennifer, I'm so sorry. Jennifer Crumbley asked the shooter, "Are you home now?" At 3:17.
So where are you? Yes. Is that what
I'm
you're-
sorry, where are you?
Yes.
Okay. And the shooter responded, it looks like 4 hours later, saying, "Can you get home now?" And then proceeded to send some other texts about, "There is someone else in the house, I think," and it goes on from there, correct?
Correct.
Now, in between the time of 3:17 and 7:50, okay, we can agree there's a couple hours of a gap.
That's correct.
You don't know if Jennifer Crumbley and the shooter had phone conversations or discussions over those couple of hours,
If we look at the call logs on their phones, we could possibly find that out.
okay? If we looked at the call logs and the phone calls were to and from cell phones, we would be able to tell that, correct?
If they, yes.
Okay, but if, let's say Jennifer Crumbley called from her office phone, it would not show up the same as if she called from her own cell phone.
Well, the number would be different, correct?
Okay, and when you and law enforcement went through looking for phone calls, you provided over several call records, but not call records for example, Jennifer Crumbley's office with Ethan Crumbley.
There were none entered as exhibits. I can't say for certain right now with all the information I looked at, if there were any off the top of my head.
You don't know if there were any?
Right now, I don't know.
Okay. And you also don't know that day, on the 8th, you know that they're planning to be at the barn. James and Jennifer make plans to go to the barn that
Correct.
day after work.
Correct.
Okay, between the time they make these plans and the time the shooter texts, "Can you get home now?" You don't know if Jennifer Crumbley or James Crumbley has physically been with the shooter.
Right, no, I do not. From that chat thread right there, I do not know that.
You don't know the discussions on that day that may have taken place in between the shooter and his parents.
Right, from this, I can't tell you that. Is that what you're saying? I don't understand.
Right.
Correct.
Right, the best you can do is piece together bits of information, but we can agree there's gaps of time where you don't know definitively what happened.
Correct. Right now, yes.
We can agree there are any number of things that could have happened between 3:17 and 7:50 there would not be evidence to show you what exactly happened, correct?
If there is none there, you mean? Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Correct.
And the only people who would know if they can even remember the day years ago would be the people who were present. So Mrs. Crumbley and the shooter, correct?
Correct.
They would be the only people who truly know what they spoke about or didn't speak about on that day.
Correct.
So when you see these texts, and I understand you find them alarming, I imagine that the texts, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that you find alarming are the texts about there is someone in the house, I think, someone walked into the bathroom and flushed the toilet and left the light on. I thought it was you, but when I came in, no one was home. There is no one in the house though. Those are some of the texts that you found to be problematic, correct?
In the fact that there's no response in between any of those, yes.
Okay. We can agree there's no response, but you don't know if, okay, we can agree there's no response by text between Mrs. Crumbley and the shooter, correct?
Correct.
But you also have no way to tell when you see text messages like this, at what time Mrs. Crumbley read those texts.
Correct, you'd be able to tell that it was read, but yes, not what time.
Okay, so for example, when the shooter texts, "Can you get home now?" And then there's someone in the house, I think, a few seconds later, and then about 30 seconds after that, another text. You have no idea if Jennifer Crumbley checked her phone to see the first text message, checked and saw the second. You don't know which ones she saw or when, correct?
I don't know the time they were read, no.
All you know is that you don't see any response to them.
They're correct, there's no response.
So there's a number of possible things that could have happened in between these texts.
From 7:50 to the end of the last text?
Yeah.
She could have texted back, you mean, or called?
She could have, well, she didn't text back, we agree with that,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
Okay, when I say there's a number of things that could have happened, I mean, she could have read the text and thought this is garbage or he's joking and just set the phone down, correct?
She could have.
Okay, she could have not seen the texts because she was busy doing something.
Correct.
She could have been, we know she's at the horse ranch. Are you aware of how strong Jennifer Crumbley's cell signal is out at the farm, at the barn where the horses are kept?
I have no idea about that, no, I do not.
Okay, if her cell signal doesn't work out where the barn is, it's possible these texts are not getting to her until she gets to a place where data uploads into the phone, correct?
That's correct.
So while we see these texts being sent, we cannot conclude that Jennifer Crumbley is reading these as they are coming to her. Fair to say?
I mean, that's the time that they were sent, the 7:50 and 14 seconds, and then 17 seconds and 39 seconds. That's when they were actually sent, and they were received on the other end. That's marked at that time. Otherwise, it would have come in at a later time.
Okay, but my point is you don't know when she saw them, when Mrs. Crumbley actually read them.
No, but they would have been on the phone at that time.
If the phone had a signal and was able to get text, they'd be on the phone at that time, correct?
It would have been at a later time, at the time that they came in.
Okay, but if the signal wasn't working, she might not have been able to see those texts until she got to a point where the signal came in.
Correct.
Okay, there's times where you're in an area, people can be in an area with their cell phone and the signal is bad and texts are coming into them, but their phone shows nothing. That's a possibility, correct?
Correct.
And then when the person gets to a spot with better cell phone signal, all of a sudden, all the texts they missed over whatever period of time the phone wasn't working will flood into the phone, correct?
That's correct.
And just because they come into the phone at that time, they were still sent possibly hours before.
No, without testing, I can't say for certain.
You don't know.
I can't say for certain without testing, correct.
Okay, so the text messages that were sent about someone being in the house, someone walking into the bathroom, you don't know any of the responses that, or even the thoughts Jennifer Crumbley had when she did in fact read those messages.
I don't know if she would have called back if that was alarming to her. Is that what you're saying, or?
I guess what I'm saying is, so these messages are coming in, and even when she does see them, let's say if she sees them as they're coming in, you don't know what she's thinking about these.
I don't know what she's thinking, no.
Okay, and you also don't know, and obviously we've already talked about it, this has already been asked, but you obviously don't know when she's seen each message. There's no documentation like she saw this one at 8 o'clock, this one at 8:05, anything like that.
Those are the times that they came into the phone, yes.
Okay. The next message we see is a text message on the following day sent to Ethan by Jennifer Crumbley that says, "Where is your dad?" Correct?
Can you just scroll down a little bit?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I see it.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
You know, I feel like maybe I should give the jury a break. You're not close, right?
I'm not even close.
I think the witness could probably use a break.
Okay, all right, so, I'm gonna let you step down, you can't discuss your testimony with anyone? Okay, so can we come back at about 5 after 3, okay? All right?
All rise to the jury.
I mean, see, you know, some of the questions are becoming repetitive, so that's gonna make you lose them.
Okay,
All right, so 5 after 3, okay?
thank you.
Recording stopped.